to our webinar today on the subject of new products and technology with Hunter. And we're looking forward to learning more about the FX Luminaire lineup of products and hearing from Hunter today. Before we get started, I'm going to make just a couple of announcements about our Contractor Common Interest Group, the sponsors of today's webinar. We are looking forward to events coming up soon in Phoenix, Arizona at the Irrigation Show 2014. And I just wanted to run through some of those events quickly for you. On the 19th of November, we're having two events back-to-back, our Turf Talk discussion tables, beginning at 7 a.m. with coffee in Danish, leading into our Contractor Common Interest Group meeting at 8 o'clock a.m. To 9 o'clock a.m., all on November the 19th. On November the 20th, and also on November the 19th, we're going to be featuring our Point of Connection educational sessions backstage on the show floor. And our speakers this year, we have some really good speakers lined up. We're going to be featuring Michael Geary, who is the CEO of American Hort. We're featuring Cheryl Gore, who is the Executive Director of the Arizona Nursery Association, Daniel Ransom, who is with Tucson Water, and Chris-Ann Kerr, who is with the Common Ground Alliance, and we're looking forward to sessions with those folks. And then finally, on November the 21st, beginning at 8 a.m. to noon, we're going to be featuring our long session with Brad Groff, who is with River Valley Landscapes out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He's going to be talking about whether to keep your company small or to grow it much larger. You know, the pluses and minuses of both of those options. And he's also going to be talking about making hiring and firing decisions. So we're looking forward to all these events coming up very soon in the month of November, the 19th through the 21st in Phoenix, Arizona at the Irrigation Show. And that said, at this time, I'm going to introduce the chairman of our Contractor Common Interest Group, and that's Mel Grills with Mr. Lawn Irrigation out of Kansas City. Mel.
Thanks, Chad. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone for this webinar. I do want to add one thought in to add on to Chad's portion of the IA show. Make sure to take advantage of our early sign-up specials. If you sign up before October 17th, there are reduced rates, so please take advantage of that. As you're taking advantage of this today, I'd like to introduce our Hunter rep that is going to enlighten us. Please don't shoot the messenger. Ryan Williams. Ryan is the product manager for FX Luminaire. He's been with Hunter for 4 years, and before being the product manager, he was a manufacturing engineer, and his background is engineering. He's got an MS, MBA from Brigham Young University, and in product development. So he's actually using what he learned. He was born and raised in Texas, but as many of us know, we follow the love of our life, and he is now in San Diego, taking, well, it's a shorter commute as well. He's right there next to the Hunter headquarters, so he can take care of business. So everyone, I'd like to welcome Ryan Williams, and let's see what he has to enlighten us on. Ryan.
Thank you, Mel. Appreciate that. Now, before I begin, I do first want to thank the Irrigation Association for the opportunity to speak to you today. The IA is an excellent asset to our industry, and Hunter is proud to be associated with it. Now, today we will be focusing on the new technology that is currently available out of Hunter Industries under its landscape lighting division called FX Luminaire. Now, here on after that, I will refer to that business unit simply as FX because that's what most people simply just call it. So really quickly, just about me. I know in these webinars it's sometimes hard to put a face with a name, but here's a picture of me as Mel gave a quick introduction. But I always kind of like a picture with some of these opportunities. Quick background on FX Luminaire. The original and owner and founder of FX started the company in the early 1980s, close to the same time as Hunter. And at the time, he was not satisfied with the current level of quality that he saw in the landscape lighting industry and decided that he could do it better. And so he really built the company on producing high-quality products for the landscape lighting industry. Hunter recognized that in 2009 and did acquire the company, and it's been just over 5 years now since the acquisition. And since then, Hunter has been combining and adding to that level of quality and adding technology to that. So let's run over a quick agenda here. We'll first focus primarily on the Luxor lighting controller. We need to first discuss kind of what it does and the benefits that it will add to a homeowner's property. Then we'll discuss the Wi-Fi options we released earlier this year. And finally, we will review the recent fixture and accessory releases and end with questions. So this is just kind of a little background on the agenda here. Let's first review a typical landscape lighting system. You can see on the layout on the screen with the house and the shaded driveway. And to simplify the situation, let's assume that the homeowner would like two types of lights. Some uplights represented by the circles and some path lights represented by the shaded triangles here. And let's say we're going to scatter them through the front yard only, just for discussion purposes here. Now, this is a typical all-on and all-off situation, where if the transformer is on, then all the lights are on, and vice versa when the transformer is off. So if the system is dimmed using a dimmer switch for the system, then all lights will dim together. But in reality, it operates as a single independent zone. And lastly, if the intensity of each lamp is really limited to the individual lamps that are put into each fixture. Now, let's run through a typical operation of a transformer. Now, in the evening, this system is turned on via a timer or photocell at sunset, and all lights are turned on at their full intensities. The homeowner has selected to turn off all the lights at 10 p.m. Let's turn the lights off here, because she wants the lights off next to her bedroom window. Okay, the other option that the homeowner would like to have, but she can't have both, is for the lights to stay on all night long so that she can have some security lighting around the perimeter of the property. But again, she's limited to either a 10 p.m. shutoff or a sunrise shutoff. But in the world we live in now, we do not live in an on-off world anymore, and our homes and the way we live in our homes should reflect that. So let's get rid of the typical situation and talk about what's ideal. If we had our choice, then the lights would come on at sunset via an astronomical timer. Now, and only the lights around the bedroom would either dim or turn off at the homeowner's typical bedtime. So let's say that's still 10 o'clock. So we've turned off those lights on the side of the house, just 3 of the uplights. But the accent lights, we want to keep those on a little bit later, until maybe the rest of the neighborhood goes to sleep. So at midnight, let's turn on the rest of the uplights, which are kind of the accent lights that are not necessarily useful or beneficial to the homeowner after midnight. But as I said before, the homeowner would like to keep some path lights on around the perimeter of the house throughout the night and to turn off at sunrise. So thus, the functionality and the aesthetic purposes of the lighting remains intact, but the homeowner saves energy by dimming or turning off the lights that are unnecessary at appropriate times. And that really truly affects the way that he or she lives. Okay? So this type of control is referred to as zoning. And that the typical install we discussed previously controls all the lights the same way as if they were one group. Now, the transformer in that case does not differentiate between location or fixture type. Just if it's connected to the fixture, it operates as one group. Now, the Luxor lighting controller that we're talking about today, and some of the features associated with that later on, allows you to create this ideal setup, providing control that is really not found on the market today. Now, this ideal way to set up the system is to organize groups among the fixtures in the case that you can see here on the screen. You know, group 1 consists of the lights around the perimeter windows. Group 2 surrounds the large tree in the front yard. There it is. Group 3 highlights the garage pillars. 4 highlights a single tree in the center island, and 5 and 6 would be path lights near the walking areas. And if you would like more resolution in your control, you can program each fixture to be its own group. And thus that really adds to and adds complete control over the system, and it gives you that control available really at your fingertips. But it's really not enough to build groups with only simple on and off functionality. The capability to dim and adjust the intensities in 1% increments is a key feature. Luxors offer both zoning and dimming capabilities that really provide virtual limitless design possibilities. It's also important to note that, or mention that this is all done on the same 2-wire runs used to power the fixtures. No additional wires are required to make this system work. So let's take a look at the Luxor unit itself, this lighting controller. The Luxor consists of really 2 parts, a face pack and a chassis. I often refer to this as the brains and the brawn, because all of the automation and control is found in the face pack, whereas the chassis is really the power portion. The face pack is removable to access the backup battery, the SD card slot for updates, as well as the accessory port. The Luxor, as you can see, comes with full LCD screen, full color LCD screen, and is available in 2 wattage options and 2 color finishes, 150 and 300 watts, and stainless and matte gray finishes. Now, the reason FX can assign fixtures to groups and individually change the intensities and whether they're on or off is the integrated LED board that's built inside the fixture, and you can see the orange circuit board there on the screen. The LED boards are designed to withstand heat as well as provide versatile configurations for color, temperature, and beam angle options. The boards are really listening devices, and they listen to power as we're most commonly used to, but they also listen to signal. And the standard boards are assignable to groups with use on the Luxor, and there's a ZD option, a ZD upgrade option for boards that are assignable and dimmable through the Luxor. Okay, so again, there's 2 types of LED boards. The first board is a default as a zonable, which means you can assign it to groups and control the on-off functionalities at your convenience and leisure with that standard board. But if you want to add the dimmable feature, you have to get the upgraded LED board option. Okay, and both board types and fixtures, they all have that 10-year standard warranty that FX offers. So your next logical question is probably, well, how do you assign a fixture to a group? There's really 2 ways. The first has been available since we first launched the Luxor in 2012. So this has been around for 2 years now. You do this programming by really inserting the leads of a fixture into the programming ports on the face pack. You can see that on the screen. The Luxor, once those leads are inserted into the programming ports, the Luxor automatically senses that you're trying to or attempting to program a fixture, and a specific menu will pop up on the LCD screen and ask you which group you want that fixture to listen to. You select your group number, and that group number is run between 1 and 250, and after 1 to 2 seconds, the process is complete. So it's very, very simple. All LED fixtures are shipped with a default group of 1, and as some of you might ask, there's really no limit to how many fixtures you can assign to a single group. You're really only limited to the available watts on a transformer. Okay. Now the second way to program the groups, it gets into our Wi-Fi section, which we will talk about in a few minutes. Now there are 2 definitions that we need to clarify before we go further. They are groups and themes. A group is an addressed set of lights that is designated numerically and controlled as a set by the controller. So as displayed on the screen here, we have divided the groups up by category. Up lights for group 1, path lights for group 2, and down lights, wall lights are on groups 3 and 4. Now this is different from the house example I shared with you earlier, where we divided the groups up by location. So remember, in this system, the system is very flexible, and you can set it up however way you'd like, or even a combination of the two. Themes are really a group of groups, or a predetermined set of groups and intensities called to action by the program. Okay, so we can take this a bucket we call theme. We can throw on any configuration of groups that we would like and assign a specific intensity. Note that you do not have to use all the groups in each theme. A theme is a combination of whatever we want to use. So in our example on the screen, you can see that there are 4 groups, but we're only using 3 of the groups in this theme A. Now, also you'll notice that the groups are designated numerically, but the themes are designated alphabetically. So the groups are limited to 250 groups, whereas the themes, since we use the alphabet, are limited to 26 themes. So let's use an application of this. So since themes are really created according to the needs of the homeowner, and they can be location-based, like front yard, backyard, hot tub, front tree, front path lights, like we had in that house example, or they can be lifestyle-based, such as entertainment, party mode, vacation theme, weekend theme, maybe your standard weeknight theme. In this case, we have a weekend theme with high intensities. We'll throw those intensities in the 90s, 75 at the group 3. But we might want the lights to operate a little bit differently during the weekdays, during the weeknights rather than the weekend nights. Okay, so in that case, we'll use that same set of groups, but we'll change the intensities to reflect our different activities which happen during the week. So again, groups and themes. So let's walk through a typical evening. Okay, at dusk, it isn't really dark enough to require a full amount of light. So the homeowner will save some energy and tune down the lights slightly on groups 1 through 3. Okay, beginning at 8 o'clock and between 8 and 10, it's the most prominent part of the evening. So our homeowner wants to show off his house and the effects of the lighting. Beginning at 10 p.m., however, the lights will begin to either dim or turn off, or do both, because they are no longer needed at those times. But the path lights will remain on as security lighting until dawn. Now this is an example of using specific groups in the programming throughout the evening. Now you can also use or change the lights by cycling through the various preset themes throughout the evening. And this is especially important when you have more than 3 groups to control. And it really kind of not only simplifies the programs and the way you create them, but also allows you to use those preset and standard themes that the homeowner would like to keep to. Okay. Now we don't have to be limited to just groups or just themes in our programming. We can also use a combination of the two. And this is actually probably the most popular option as well, because it provides some, not only the standardization to allow you to keep to the themes that you'd like to use and set, but also gives you that option to keep on a few of those, that security lighting, path lights, wall lights throughout the property to keep them on throughout the evening. Okay. Now let's talk about Wi-Fi. That was the introduction as far as the Luxor, how it operates, how it thinks, and what we've been selling for the last 2 years now. Now, earlier this year in January, we opened up the technology and added the Wi-Fi option, which added 3 new capabilities. These 3 new capabilities are the smartphone control, the wireless fixture assignment, and Luxor linking. Okay. So let's take a look at each of these options. The great thing about the new Wi-Fi option is that all the previous Luxors that were sold since September of 2012, they are all upgradable to Wi-Fi. They're backwards compatible, and we designed it to be that way. And the reason it can is because in the back of every face pack, remember the brains part, there is a slot that previously did not serve a particular purpose. Okay, well now it does. And in order to upgrade any Luxor to Wi-Fi, you do need this Wi-Fi module. Simply remove the cover, as you can see in the picture. You remove the cover on the back of the facepack. Replace it with the Wi-Fi module, and it's a simple inserting and impress. And as you can see, there's an antenna that hangs off the back of the Wi-Fi module. This Wi-Fi module comes with an outdoor case for the antenna, and if you look at the bottom of each Luxor, there's a punch-out option so that you can slide the antenna through and keep it sealed so that it is outside of the transformer box. We'll get into Wi-Fi range options in a little bit, but you can probably tell that if you take a stainless steel box and put the antenna inside, it's not going to always receive signal very well. Therefore, it helps to get the antenna outside and away from that stainless steel box. Okay, so at this point, once you've entered or inserted the Wi-Fi module, you do need to give the facepack a firmware update, because FX periodically makes improvements to the code and adds feature capabilities like Wi-Fi, as well as fixes any bugs that pop up along the development path. The most up-to-date version for the firmware is always available on the FX website on the Luxor product page. And the ability to upgrade is a key benefit to anybody, especially with your backwards compatibility. If existing Luxors are already on the site, if the contractor sold the job and installed the job 2 years ago, he or she can now go back to the homeowner and say, look, for a new Wi-Fi module, which will cost you $199 list, I can now give you access to Wi-Fi access, and you can have Wi-Fi control on your Luxor system. So it's a great feature that contractors can use to upgrade the homeowners. Okay, so the SD card is you save the firmware on the SD card. You don't need a large SD card either, because the files are very, very small. Now, the directions and video instructions actually are available on the FX website, how to do it, and it probably takes about a minute max. You access a menu inside the Luxor. You tell it you do have to insert the SD card into the side pocket of the facepack, and once you insert the SD card and tell the facepack that you want to do the upgrade, it probably takes anywhere between 5 and 15 seconds, depending on which firmware update you want to do. So it's very easy. Instructions are available on the website, and it is a great feature of the Luxor. So let's talk about the app itself. The new app is currently available on Apple's App Store and Google's Play Store for iOS and Android devices. The app, it allows you to access, create, adjust the groups and themes, and you have individual access to each group. And you can now have that, really, it's that versatile and limitless capabilities that the ZD Luxor system offers you, again, right at the tip of your fingers. As you can see on the screen, you simply have to slide the bars to the left or right to change the intensities. Obviously, if you slide it all the way to 0, the lights will turn off, and the intensities will change as you slide between 1 and 100. Another great feature about this is, remember I was talking about how the groups are indicated by numerically, and the themes are indicated alphabetically. Well, now you can actually, rather than remembering, okay, group 1 is in the front and group 2 is on the side and group 3 is in the back, now you can actually give names to each of the groups as well. So on the screen you see seating area, back wall, fern, water feature. You can name the various groups to not only help you remember which one's which, but just to make it a little bit easier to navigate as well as remember and use. Again, like we were talking before, there are 2 types of LED boards. Remember, the ZD boards, zonable and dimmable, which react the way I have just been describing. If you slide the bar anywhere along between 0 and 100%, it'll adapt the intensity intended. If you have the standard boards, the zonable only boards, in that case, at anywhere between 1 and 120, those boards will go to their full lumen output. You can't dim them, but they can turn on when you want them to turn on, because they do have that particular on-off feature when you want that particular group to turn on. It is important to note that both the smart device, phone in this case, and the Luxor transformer or controller itself must be connected to the same Wi-Fi network for the app to connect to the Luxor. This means you physically need to be present on site to control the system via the app, because the app is really, there's nothing saved in the app, and this is actually a great feature. Everything is saved in the Luxor FacePack. So, and that makes the app really just a viewer. For contractors, this is an excellent feature, because as they have multiple homes with Luxors, once they walk on site and connect their phone to the home network, at that case, their phone will show all the settings inside the Luxor on that property. This will prevent you from walking onto different properties and taking settings on one property and forcing them onto another. So again, the app is just a viewer, and once it's connected to a Luxor FacePack via the home network, it will pull out all the themes, the groups, the names, preset intensities, and combinations of such. Now, let's talk about the second feature that Luxor Wi-Fi opened up. Is called the Light Assignment Module, and we call it LAM for short, to give it a nice acronym. The LAM is really, it's a remote programming device to assign each fixture to a specific group. Rather than developing any type of specialized remote, FX decided that it was best to utilize the remote that is in everybody's hand, and that is a smart device. The LAM fits into the standard headphone jack of your smart device, iPhone in this case, and my iPhone here is an old version. It's not the new 5, so the headphone jack is on the top and not the bottom. And it looks like my computer wants to do installs, updates. Here we go. So again, my iPhone, the headphone jack's on the top and not the bottom, which is different from some of the newer iPhones. Okay. You'll also notice that the shaft is extended a little bit, and the reason is because everybody seems to use a case on their phone now, and everyone's case is slightly different, so we did have to extend that shaft just to be flexible enough with most cases that are on the market. That the top head of the LAM is also flexible as well, and so it'll prevent it from breaking or bending too far, or allowing you to access some hard to reach places with the LAM device. Now, every fixture attached to a Luxor system, if it's a FX LED board, can be wirelessly assigned to a specific group, rather than using that manual version I showed you earlier, where you had to take the leads and physically stick them into the FacePack programming ports. That's still an option, and you can use both interchangeably. They both work, and they could both work on the same site if you'd like, and both really have their own place. One thing to note on this topic, though, is you must have Wi-Fi connectivity at the location of the installed fixture to program with the LAM, because the LAM uses the app for assignments, which is how it communicates back to the Luxor. Okay, so in summary, there, you only need Wi-Fi at the fixture when programming with the LAM. The programming with the LAM is generally an installation tool only. Once the fixtures are programmed, whether with the LAM or manually at the FacePack, you do not need Wi-Fi at the fixture. You only need Wi-Fi at the Luxor FacePack itself, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But just remember that you need Wi-Fi at the fixture when programming with the LAM, but you do not need Wi-Fi at the fixture after that point. In the case that you have a fixture that is installed out of the range of the existing home network, there are a few things that you can do. Number one is you can extend temporarily or permanently the Wi-Fi signal into the farthest portions of the site. Some prefer to use extenders to extend the home network range. Others will bring, some contractors bring their own temporary network, like an Airport Express, with them. They stick that in the middle of the site, let's say in the backyard, to give a clear and unobstructed range. There are a number of factors that affect this method, and it's usually best to contact someone within FACS who has done this before. Your second option is always to, and default option is always to go back to the FacePack ports. You can always program that way. The third way is to use what we call the direct connect method. Now, in most cases, when we think of Wi-Fi, we think of this setup right here. Okay, you have a home network in the middle, and your phone is connected through Wi-Fi to the home network, and that signal is sent from the phone to the home network out to the Luxor, and any changes within the Luxor are sent back to the home router, which goes back to the smart device, an iPhone in this case, and that's how they communicate back and forth. But that doesn't always work for some reasons. And so what we've created is we've created a way to bypass the home network and create our own connection. We call this Direct Connect. Now this removes the need, again, to go through the Wi-Fi router, and it operates similar to Bluetooth technology. It's not Bluetooth, but it operates similarly in that this is a one-device-to-one-device connection with limited range. If a homeowner does not have a Wi-Fi router but still wants to use the app, then Direct Connect is the solution. Now, for contractors who do not have access to the homeowner's network, either because the homeowner is not home or if the homeowner is concerned with privacy, then this is a good option as well, because a contractor can now access the unit and the app without a password and can still use the programming and naming features of the app. So again, Direct Connect there are two options for Wi-Fi: the standard home network option and the Direct Connect option. Both have their place, but we did need to make sure that the Wi-Fi was available in areas that are hard to reach. And we will talk about that in a few minutes here. So let's talk about Luxor linking. This is the last feature that Luxor Wi-Fi opened up, and is what we really call Luxor linking. Now let's go back to our original house diagram with 6 groups on the site, as you can see here, and only in the front yard. In reality, when we look at a house this big, we know that you're going to need more than one transformer and more than just lights on the front. Okay, so let's throw in the additional 3 transformers that are required on this site, but keep the same number of groups to simplify our discussion here. When each Luxor on site has a Wi-Fi mod installed in the back, and remember is connected to the same network, then all the Luxors now benefit from the controller's communication capabilities. So each unit on the property will really sync together, creating one single system in the mind of the app. Now, groups really can cross transformer boundaries or borders and act as one group. Now, in my example here, let's take a look at the map here. Path lights around the house, group 5, remember those are the triangles with group 5, are now controlled as one group. And you now have complete control of this one group, no matter which transformer it's connected to. So I can say, okay, I want all my path lights because they're the same design, same model, same LED board option. I now want to create or control those as one group. And so I can now do that, whether they're in the front, back, side, middle. I want all my path lights with group 5, no matter what transformer, to turn on when I want it to turn on. And so what that does is now that gives you complete control for on-demand changes of your outdoor living space. You can activate any theme on your app, and the entire outdoors will really come alive, which is an excellent feature. When we first launched Luxor, that is one of the top 3 things that everybody asks for, is the ability to wirelessly connect all transformers together and combine this zoning idea with multiple transformers, which is what we did. Now with Luxor linking at this time, programs still remain independent within each controller, but your accessibility of groups and themes is now limitless through the app, and you can control them together. So in this example, remember, we have 250 groups. That's the total number of groups that we can put on a system. Whether you use one Luxor or you link multiple Luxors together, you're still limited to 250 groups, which is in 99% of the cases, which is more than sufficient for most people. Okay. You do need to remember, if you have one Luxor and you're using groups 1 through 10, in that case, when you open up another Luxor, you need to use groups 11 through 20. Just because you don't, unless you want them to overlap. In this case, I have group 5 on multiple transformers because I want them to operate as a single group. If you have path lights on different transformers that you want them to operate as different groups, they obviously need to be different numbers. Because when the Luxors send signals or commands to groups, they do not differentiate between the transformer, the lines, or the fixtures. All they do is they send out signals. They send out signals to, if you want to initiate a theme, let's say theme A, they send a signal to all fixtures that say, if you're listening to group 1, I want you to turn on to 50%. If you're listening to group 2, I want you to turn on to 60%. And so on and so forth for the various groups within the theme. So remember, the commands are all sent from the Luxor, both in terms of power as well as signal. All the fixtures are just listening devices on a ZD system. They listen for their specific signal, and they, in a sense, do what they are told. So that is Luxor linking. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the Wi-Fi signal strength when you're connecting one or more Luxors to the home network. Because as you can see on the image of the screen, the router in this case is in the very center of the house. And the signal, obviously, as we all know, fades towards the end of the range. Physical and electrical interference can inhibit the Wi-Fi signal strength, leading to poor performance. You do need strong and consistent signal strength at each Luxor for optimal performance. The Wi-Fi settings on each Luxor will display what we call the residual strength indicator, or RSSI, and that gives you an idea as far as how well the Luxor is picking up the Wi-Fi signal. This metric, or RSSI, ranges between 0 and 120, and usually I tell people you need to make sure that you have an RSSI of about 70 or greater to ensure that you have smooth and uninterrupted service. So some sites do require additional extenders installed in the house to get the signal past all of the interference. In this case, as you can see in the house, I recommend adding 1 or 2 extenders to ensure that optimal performance. Again, so if you, as you can tell from the site, if you moved that center one to the right, maybe closer to the garage, and then added another one on the left side of the house, then it would probably be sufficient for the needs of this house. Extenders are a fairly common thing that people use these days because we have so many devices connected to our networks that we need a strong and powerful signal. We also have a lot of interference running through our houses, whether it's refrigerators, whether it's drywall, brick walls, both internal and external to the house. There is interference. And sometimes it's hard for people to realize, well, I have strong signal strength in my house, but once you cross that brick wall, for some reason my RSSI drops in half. Well, that's why you've got interference. And so you need to plan ahead of time to make sure that you are accounting for signal strength, because that will be a major part on how effective the system is for you when talking about Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, remember, is really designed for on-demand changes. The automation built into the Luxor system will run bulletproof by itself. Usually, trouble comes up with Wi-Fi because in cases like this, when you have a situation where there's interference. And so if you plan ahead of time and plan accordingly with your signal strength at the homeowner site, then this thing will operate appropriately. Also, one thing to keep in mind is interference such as electrical rooms and pool equipment areas. There's a lot of interference that usually comes off with those, and so you do want to be wary of installing Luxors, trying to get Wi-Fi device in areas such as that. Again, it's just a matter of planning accordingly and making sure that you have the appropriate Wi-Fi signal strength. So to summarize the Luxor Wi-Fi options and capabilities, we have added a few things. We've added the Smart Device app that's available on Apple and Android devices. It's predominantly designed to have that on-demand control, and you can change the programs as well, assuming that you've built your programs full of themes, because you can change the groups and you can change the themes. The second feature, again, is that LAM, the Light Assignment Module, where you can wirelessly assign each fixture to its specific group. Again, that's not the only way to do it, but it is the most convenient way to do it, assuming you have good, solid Wi-Fi signal strength outdoors. That device, again, plugs into your smart device via the headphone jack, because everybody's smart device has a headphone jack, so that made it easy for us. And finally, the Luxor linking capabilities really take control from each of the individual Luxors and put that onto the smart device. And that is something that really automatically happens. As long as you plug in your Wi-Fi mod and into each of the Luxors and tell the Luxor to connect to your home network, then it will actually do this automatically. You do not have to do anything for the Luxor linking. It will do it automatically, assuming the Luxors are connected to the home Wi-Fi network. The primary thing you need, again, is that Wi-Fi module. So Wi-Fi in summary. Remember, you need a solid Wi-Fi signal strength. You do need Wi-Fi at the fixture only during the installation process when using the LAM. After that, Wi-Fi is only needed at the Luxor FacePack with the Wi-Fi module installed. Now, one quick and last note about Wi-Fi connectivity. Sometimes, and in some cases, it's depending on the location of the Luxor or where it is most convenient, it's going to be a difficult place for Wi-Fi connectivity. So what you can do is you can remotely move the FacePack. Remember, there are two parts to the Luxor. There is the FacePack, which is the brains, and the chassis, which is the bronze. The chassis needs to be installed somewhere close to the lighting for obvious reasons, to reduce the lengths of your lines and everything, and reduce line voltage issues, or voltage drop, sorry. The FacePack with the Wi-Fi module and antenna is what really requires the FacePack, or what really requires Wi-Fi connectivity. So you can leave the chassis where it is, installed close to the lights, and remotely program and move the FacePack to an area inside the house, inside the garage, somewhere that's closer to Wi-Fi signal strength, and that's closer for the homeowner to access the FacePack controls. Remember, if you've got multiple transformers, the homeowner doesn't want to have to go bend down behind the air conditioning unit to control or adjust or turn on or off the lights. They would like some convenience associated with that. And so you can move that FacePack somewhere more convenient, let's say the garage, or inside the house where it's more convenient to access as well as more convenient to get Wi-Fi signal strength. We do have a FacePack mount that you can use to install that FacePack onto drywall or somewhere a little bit more cleanly, but that is an option. Remember, it's the brains area. That's what needs the Wi-Fi signal. So let's take a look at, so that concludes really the Luxor and the Luxor Wi-Fi. I have 3 additional things to talk about as far as new products. The first is what we call the VE hanging down light. This is a brand new fixture that we literally launched officially yesterday. The VE is very similar, and it's seen as an upgrade feature to the existing LE hanging down light. The LE is a small, 1 LED only capable hanging down light, and we've had a lot of success for it, with it. So we have launched this new VE, which is slightly bigger, which means it is capable of holding a 1 or 3 LED board. Comes with a 24-foot lead, frosted lens to create those softer edges. The base of the metal is anodized aluminum, but you do have the option of adding a copper sleeve or an elongated, perforated copper sleeve. In all options, just like with the LE, there comes with a stainless steel cable and lock, and it's available in the standard powder coat colors, standard metal finishes, like those antique bronze, antique tumble, nickel plates, and copper, and the standard color filters, which you are probably used to with FX fixtures, is still available. Second fixture is the RW. The RW was launched, I believe it was probably in February or March. And the RW happens to be the most versatile fixture that FX has had because it can be used in any position. It can be used in the uplight position as in a wall wash. It can be used as a downlight position, or even put on a riser and used as a directional path light or raised up or down light. It's large enough that it could fit a 1, 3, 6, or 9 LED board. It does come with a frosted lens, even though you can't really see that in the picture. And it's been a wonderful addition to our product line just because of that pure versatility. Lastly, we have the couplings. The straight coupling is an existing legacy product that we've had for a long time, but we have offered and recently launched the 90-degree fitting as well as the T-mount. These new coupling options have set screws at each set of threads to lock down and secure your fixtures in the positions that you would like. They also are made out of aluminum and anodized aluminum, just depending on if it's machined or die casted. And it comes in our standard powder coat color options. So at this point, this concludes the my message here on the FX Luxor, the Wi-Fi, the new products. Be sure to stop by when we are at the IA show in a few months because we have some really exciting new stuff that you'll be very impressed to see. So with that, I'd like to turn the time over to Chad and Mel, and I believe it's time for questions. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much, Ryan, for an excellent presentation. And at this time, we're going to open up the lines for questions. And so there are a couple of ways to do that. The easiest way is to use the questions feature on your dashboard, on your screen, by just expanding that and texting in your question. And I'll see it, and I'll be able to ask Ryan. Additionally, if you would like to state your question out loud over the phone line or over the computer, you can do that as well by clicking the hand raise icon, and then I can open up your speaker for a question. So this is your opportunity now to ask questions about anything in this presentation or anything that might not have been covered in the presentation, but you would like to ask Ryan about this lineup of products. This is your opportunity, and go ahead and ask a question. Again, all you need to do is click on that hand raise icon. I'll see it, and I can open up your phone line, and you can ask the question. While we're waiting for folks to text it in, Ryan, I had a question I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
And this is a big picture question for you. What kind of response are you getting from contractors out there that are installing this product? What kind of feedback are you receiving at Hunter?
The Luxor, everybody loves the Luxor. It really gives and provides the control that everybody's looking for. This world of simply on and off doesn't quite cut it anymore because of the way that we want to live. And so most people are very excited about the Luxor, and we've gotten some great feedback simply because it's a great selling feature to homeowners. It is fairly expensive, and so there's some great margins in terms of distributors and contractors. And the functionality and the ability that you have to create these scenes in terms of dimming things down, controlling if things are on or off, highlighting certain sections of the sites. There are a number of options and an amount of flexibility that contractors can use and exploit in some ways. And so the overall feedback we've had is tremendous in terms of its functionality and potential.
Excellent. Thanks for your answer. And I see we have an individual with their hand raised, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines for Craig Penner. Craig, you're live with Ryan and myself. Go ahead and ask your question. Craig, can you hear us okay? Okay, Craig, we're not getting your question over the line, but feel free to go ahead and text it in, and I can read it out. And while we wait for that, I do have another question coming in. Let's see here, just a second. Okay, this is coming from Mel Grills, our Contractor Common Interest Group Chairman. Is there anything specific about routers we need to look for? Is a dual-channel router something that makes a difference?
Good question, Mel. Dual channels do not make a difference because the Luxor sticks to the standard 2.4 gigahertz. So even if you're using a dual channel option, the Luxor is still going to stick to that 2.4 anyway. So it wouldn't cause any additional interference. It doesn't hurt for your other devices throughout the home, but the Luxor will still keep to that standard 2.4.
Okay. Thanks very much. And Craig Penner, we're going to turn it back to you here. In just a second, I'm going to open up your microphone, and you can go ahead and ask your question to Ryan. Craig, go ahead. Okay, Craig, I'm not getting anything from you here verbally, so I'm going to go ahead. I'll send you a text, and hopefully that'll help you text in your question. And while we wait for that, do we have any other questions from anybody? Oh, okay. I'm getting a message from Craig now. All right, here you go, Ryan. In Direct Connect, it was mentioned that a kind of Bluetooth was used, but Bluetooth has such a limited range. Please explain.
Sure. It's not Bluetooth specifically. It operates like Bluetooth in that it's a one device to one device connection with limited range. The out in the open, I've seen the Direct Connect go about 300 feet. But again, that is out in the open with no restrictions whatsoever or interference whatsoever. So in some cases, when you have the Luxor on one side of the house, but you walk around to the other side of the house, there's a good chance you won't have Direct Connect because in most cases it's line of sight, but not always. I would definitely expect at least 30 feet out of it. But depending on the case, sometimes not more than that. It literally just depends on physical and electrical interference, as well as line of sight sometimes. But again, the Direct Connect is almost seen as a backup feature for your Wi-Fi system. So again, it offers you Wi-Fi offers you two different options just to ensure that you do have the connectivity needs that you require.
Thanks, Ryan. We have a follow-up question from Craig as follows. So how does your phone know how to use it? What settings?
Oh, good question. So what happens when you, on the Luxor side, you put your Luxor in, after the Wi-Fi mod is inserted, you put it into two different modes. You put it into the standard, find your network and select it and connect to it, or you put it into Direct Connect mode. At that point, the Luxor is really transmitting its own Wi-Fi signal, okay? And so with your smart device, let's say your iPhone in my case, I can open up my networks on my iPhone, and it will show me a broadcasted signal from the Luxor, as if it were any standard Wi-Fi network. I connect to that network, and then at that point, I'm connected directly to the Luxor because I'm connected to the network that the Luxor is broadcasting. At that point, then your app will function normally, and you can go through the standard motions with the Wi-Fi app.
Great. Thanks very much. Any other questions, anybody?
Chad, this is Mel. Can I interject one?
Go ahead.
Looking at the range, Ryan, we're looking at very limited. Is there a desire to, is there a projection to make this a web-based, so when Miss Jones calls me at 10 o'clock at night and wonders why the up lights are still on, I don't have to send somebody out to her house and flip a switch, turn a knob, do something that she could have done but was scared to get out in the flower bed at 10 o'clock at night. Is there a desire to go in that direction?
Desire, yes, and you were not the first person to ask that. In the future, I would imagine we would have some technology capable of doing that. Right now, obviously, we do not, but it is something that we are looking into.
Okay, thank you.
And Ryan, we have a follow-up question now from Craig Penner. When will Windows phones be online?
At this time, we're just sticking with the Android and iPhone options, simply because that makes up most of the market. Windows phones are becoming more popular, and so we are looking into options with that. But at this time, I cannot provide a date.
All right, thanks very much. Any other questions, folks? We're almost to 3 o'clock, and we appreciate everyone's involvement today. It's been great. We have time probably for one more question. Okay.
Ryan, this is Mel again. Let me throw one more out for you.
Sure.
Coming up for the IA show, what type of display would you have for us to look forward to seeing? Because I'd like to encourage folks to get to the IA show, and this is just one more reason to show up.
Yeah, so you will see the Luxor stuff. You will see a new and special added feature to the Luxor, which I can't tell you what it is now. I can only tell you that you will be very, very impressed. And it will be a very new highlight to our product line.
Super, thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, at this point, we're going to go ahead and end our presentation for today. I want to tell everyone on the call that we have recorded today's presentation, and it will be posted to the Contractor Common Interest Group's YouTube channel. And after we post it, we will email everyone who was on the call today with the link, as well as everyone who registered that didn't make it to the call today. And we look forward to doing that and give folks an opportunity, if they didn't get the presentation today, to hear it and see it, or if they'd like to watch it again, they can do that. And then we look forward to seeing all of you at the Irrigation Show 2014 in Phoenix in November. And I want to thank Mel Grills, our Contractor Common Interest Group Chairman, and Ryan Williams again for giving us an excellent presentation today. And we'll see you all next time.
Hey, everybody have a great weekend. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.